Hello, this is Teresa Phelps Martin, bringing you the energetic signature for June of 2022, so you can be real, be true, and be soulfully you. And that idea of being soulfully you is that you live from a connection to your innermost self, that you honor the fact that there's a truth that is brilliant and beautiful, and you orient yourself in a way to honor that, to embody that, so that you can be exactly who you're meant to be, just as you are. So the energetic signature, we look to the heavens above. You can tell I'm outside, so there's going to be a lot of background noise. My apologies, but life presented itself for me to be in nature in this rich abundance, and so here I am. The energetic signature for June is not that busy. It's interesting, but it's not that busy. Like, I don't have it colored in, but as I was looking to future months, August, busy, right? So, but June is interesting because what we have is this invitation, this opportunity to really recognize as above, so below. It's this universal teaching principle that as within, so without. So what we see going on around us is also going on inside of us. And it really, that perspective determines our experience. Now, that is a very intellectual way of approaching life. However, it's true. If you see yourself as a piece of poop, life is pretty shitty. I know that's not the best description, but if you can really do the work to evolve the relationship so that your ego, which gets you out to have a job, to find food, to have relationships, to be attract things into your life, right? That is that desire part. If you can have the relationship with your ego where you are friends with your ego, where you make friends with your inner world, the whole part of yourself, but you also recognize you have a soul and a mind and a body and a spirit, right? This is the core energy of whom we are. And when you can weave these together and you can take all the parts and pieces and understand the exchange or the commerce of your inner self and bring that forward, that is going to directly create your reality, right? So my yard is my haven. It is a retreat. It is a sanctuary. It has been a work in process. And this has been the year where I can really enjoy the fruits of my labor. I have been able to walk around and just receive the bounty and the beauty that nature provides. However, it's taken a lot of work, a lot of sweats, a lot of discomfort to maneuver things in a way to bring forward the beauty. And that's just that personification for life, as above, so below, as within, as without. So when we look at the month of June, we are beginning this month with this new, fresh energy, okay? 2 days ago, so May 30th, right? 2 days before June began, we had a new moon, and it's the new moon in Gemini. So what you want to do is look at your own natal chart, right? This circle, this wheel, and figure out where Gemini is. So I orient everything to the natural rhythm of the zodiac. But you would look at where Gemini is in your chart. In my own personal chart, Gemini is up here, right? So I know it is impacting my 9th house. And it's impacting my ability to teach, to explore, and beliefs. So that's where your soul scope, which you can find them on Instagram or Facebook in the Soulfully You group, shares that rising sign, right? So I would read Cancer rising because, I'm sorry, I would not read Cancer rising. I would read Libra rising, and that plops that Gemini energy into my 9th house. I'm a Gemini, And we're all Geminis right now because the sun is in Gemini for the first half of June until the solstice, the summer solstice, when the sun crosses the Tropic of Cancer and we have the longest day of the year, the longest amount of light of the year for the northern hemisphere, right? So it would mark the still the Cancer solstice, right? The Tropic of Cancer solstice, whether you're in the northern hemisphere or southern hemisphere. Most everybody watching this is northern hemisphere. But anyhow, we're all Geminis. We're all under the influence of being contemplative, communicative, our language that need to socialize and connect and explore what's in our natural environment. It's summertime, school's out for most people. And so there's this kind of rush of enjoyment, of vacation, of traveling, of being busy in a very different way. So we're all under that influence. The thing about Gemini, it's ruled by Mercury. And so our words really matter. The messages we carry. So we have a lot of air energy because Gemini is air. It is the mutable air. It's the dissolve of spring. It's the dissolve of that renewal. And so then we can move into more of that summer of light, of expansion, of heat, of warmth, of bounty, right? So we're all in that Gemini energy until June 21st, right? The solstice. What you want to know about Gemini is also duality, okay? Gemini see both sides, right? So this is an invitation for you to see within and see without, as above, as below. So whatever you believe in that heavenly sky, you're creating it here on earth. And whatever you're creating here in this earthly realm, you're offering back up to the heavens above. So it's a universal truth. It's been used for centuries. And you can interpret it, contemplate, be mindful, because that Mercurian energy is fast, is swift, but it also has that ability to be reflective. And Mercury is still retrograde until June 3rd, but Mercury does not clear its shadow. So what that means is it doesn't go past, so when Mercury went into Gemini, and then it went retrograde, and then it goes forward again, it hits each of those marks 3 times. So once moving forward, once moving backward, and then once moving forward again. And those points are on your chart. So what it's doing is that Mercury went all the way back into Taurus, which is that sustaining earth energy, that sustenance of spring, that season that brought all this bounty, right? All this green and abundance that you can see. But Mercury went back to the point of the eclipse. So I know if you follow any other astrologers, they're like, eclipses are over, eclipses are over. They are, but they're not. This particular eclipse that we went through, the lunar eclipse especially, the shadow, the releasing, the need to let go, that energy carries on for some time. Even the solar eclipse that happened at the beginning of the month of May. That energy will get hit again and again and again. So it's not completely gone. And Mercury is there and was there for the new moon. So it's really asking us to manage our choices in a mindful, grounded way. And because Mercury rules our language, pull back, reflect on your words before you speak. So this contemplative, witness-like energy of really, how can I sustain new habits, new patterns, language that really supports my belief systems, and that sense of self-worth, self-value. Prioritize the words you speak. There's a quote by John O'Donohue that says, "Words are the bridge between the visible and the invisible." And that's it. How your words can articulate what's going on in your inner world. Gemini energy is all about articulation, and it's what we see and what we say, all right, that is influenced. When Mercury clears all those spots, it goes all the way back through Gemini. Mercury will enter Gemini on right after the sun, so June 22nd. And it needs to go, I think, 3 degrees, 4 degrees. So Mercury's not clear of its shadow. It may not even be till July. So just realize, even though everybody's like, oh, Mercury retrograde, we're still under the influence of renewal, reflection, reclaiming for some time, for the month of June. So don't get ahead of yourself. But events of Mercury retrograde, like I was supposed to have surgery, it got rescheduled. No big deal. And everybody's like, oh, it'll be better for you because Mercury won't be in retrograde. When you know your own chart, my Mercury retrograde is, retrograde in Taurus. It's actually in the exact same point natally as it was when I was born, right? So, Venus. Venus is in Taurus, right? So far we had Gemini in air, and then, the sun is in air and then moves into water. Mercury is in earth for a short period. And then Mercury moves into Gemini on June 13th. So half and half. So earth and air and water. Okay, so far air is winning the skies right now. Venus is delighted to be in Taurus, and she is in Taurus until June 22nd. So we have this real opportunity to initiate values that give shape and form, the inner and the outer, to be the witness so that we can see the contrast, because Gemini's duality, remember, to see the contrast and choose in a way that enhances and brings the beauty forward, that brings the resources, that brings the abundance forward. Mars is in Aries. Mars loves to be in Aries. So we have these inner planets. Just a reminder, Mercury, Venus, and Mars are the inner planets. They are the ones that are closest to the earth, but they represent the inner self. So the witness, the values, the resources, the relationships, the money, the sustenance, and then Mars. How do we go after all of our desires? Mars is in Aries. Mars loves to be in Aries. And in that, it doesn't happen very often when Venus is in Taurus and Mars is in Aries. And remember, a few months ago, they were together in the sky. They met up in Capricorn and then traveled into Aquarius again. And now here they are, both home and the energy that they rule. So this is an opportunity to really look at the masculine and the feminine, back to that Gemini energy, the duality. We need the two to create the one, right? So what's going on inwardly? How are you taking action? Are you aligning internally and then taking inspired action from that connection within? Are you seeing the results of your choices and how they're influencing your beliefs? This whole dance of how we engage, of using this time to contemplate, to reflect, to observe how it's showing up, the masculine and the feminine. So the social planets, the outer, on the other side of the asteroid belt, because my son is very into this right now. On the other side of the asteroid belt, we have Jupiter and Saturn. Jupiter, which is our beliefs, our expansion, that benevolence, is in Aries. And for now, it'll go retrograde and back into Pisces. That means there's a lot of courage and confidence coming our way, especially with Mars there. They just met up in the sky in the end of May. So they're separating, and Mars is forging ahead with this new sense of action. So the lower vibe, because it's Gemini and we have to see the contrast, the lower vibe means there's a lot of egoic energy out there, a ton. A lot of energy that views how we can be separate, how we are individuals experiencing life and it's me, versus seeing the collective. So that's the lower vibe of it. The higher vibe of it is this expansion of really working that in the multidimensional expression of life, we have this opportunity to exist. So Jupiter goes retrograde, I believe, at the end of July. Yep, July 28th. And so it'll be in Aries, it won't catch up with Mars again, and then it'll go back, and again, it'll track. So Jupiter goes all over these points, the end of Pisces and beginning of Aries, and then it goes backwards and retraces its steps. Ooh, maybe I got a little too egoic. Maybe I got a little too self-centered. Maybe that hierarchy, that idea that I'm more evolved than you are, doesn't work that way. We're all evolving together. We all just have different gifts and talents, back to Gemini, that we come and bring together and flirt with each other, right? Okay. So when Jupiter will backtrack into Pisces and then we'll move forward again into Aries. So for anybody who has Aries rising, you want to know the degree because Jupiter's going to dance over that. And my dear friend Glow, who planted most of the early seeds of my love for astrology and my early mentor before it was all over social media and everything, she's always said, you got to watch your waistline because your rising sign is your appearance. It's the way you present yourself to the world. So when Jupiter goes over that and Jupiter expands things, you might find that your physiological structure expands. So realize though, it's also this abundant place of really believe in the way that you present yourself. Okay. So Saturn is going to go retrograde. I don't have the exact, oh yeah, I do. I'm better than I realized. On June 4th. So Saturn is stationary. That's why, like, we want to see the change. We want to see the structure that we're creating in this three-dimensional world, but it's not happening. All right. Saturn's been in a tough dialogue. Saturn's our responsibilities, our structure, kind of the rule maker of life. And those rules offer boundaries, and that's how we have structure. And Saturn's been in a hard conversation with the nodes of fate, and has been in a hard conversation with Mercury, and was in a hard conversation with Uranus as well. So realize Saturn's going to go back and review. And Saturn, I have no idea when Saturn goes direct again, but these outer planets are retrograde usually for about 6 months. So realize it's a longer review. So that's why we get like forward motion and then we pull back. That Aquarian energy is the collective. It is our hopes and dreams. It's our future self, and it's the future generations. So the choices we're making that withstand the test of time and will be received. Like, I think about the choices I'm making now as a mom are influencing the development of my children. And so the idea is for 7 generations because Saturn and 7 go together very well. So you want to realize that, okay, we're going to review how have we been initiating this new change from the total fragmented state we've been in, and how are we giving structure in it that helps the collective, that higher perspective. So Uranus will hang out in Taurus for a while. Neptune will stay in Pisces again, and Pluto is in Capricorn for some time. Pluto is retrograde. It was the first to go retrograde. And so Pluto's at 28 degrees. Neptune is at 27. No, it's not. Neptune's at 25. Pluto's at 28. And Uranus is at 16. Neptune goes retrograde at the end of June. So June 28th. And this is that 5-dimensional world. This is the unseen, okay? And so we had Jupiter kiss Neptune. It was a big deal. It's kind of why we've all been in this blurry experience of life with that our future's been foggy and it's been expansive. So remember, your angels are on your side. The invisible world is here to support you. You do want to be clear, coming back to Mercury, you want to be clear in your ability to articulate the structure you want to give form to, right? The energy, I should say, the energy you want to give shape and form to. All right. So Mercury will kiss in a nice loving aspect, so making it easier to find the words for the transformation you've experienced, what you want to see that's lasting and supportive in the greater energy. But then Mercury is going to go into Gemini, okay, and it's going to present that duality again. And then Mercury will be in a really loving relationship, that articulation with Saturn, but not until, that doesn't happen, I don't believe, until July. Yeah, I don't have it on here for some reason, but oh yeah, beginning of July. So Saturn's reviewing the structure of things, Mercury is giving language to it, right? Okay, so with that being said, I'm saving the moon for the end. This is a new beginning, a new start. The Gemini new moon happened on May 30th. The Sagittarius full moon happens on June 14th at 23 degrees. So what you would want to do for that is, right? So this would be the Sagittarius. This is what the sky, where everything is in the sky when the moon is in Sagittarius. So what you want to do is look at where Sagittarius is in your chart. Sagittarius naturally rules the 9th house. You see a lot of parallels of 9th house of teacher, philosopher, religion, and leadership, and explorer, and adventurer, and good times, right? That's Santa Claus, that benevolence. There's a lot of connection, but they're very different. So you want to look at where Sagittarius rules your house, and especially 23 degrees. So I know Sagittarius because Gemini rules my 9th house. So I know Sagittarius rules my 3rd house. I'm a Libra rising, so pretty much it's flipped. And so what you want to do is look at that, and what is it? Like, so I'm going to use myself as an example. So the opposition, which is actually my therapist who's been very helpful in my recent experience of life. One of the things she asked me, because I have a real strong ability to be in the present, but the present is actually what's overwhelming me because there's so many unknowns. Can anybody relate? For me, there's so many unknowns about my health, and I'm still acclimating to this cancer piece that I have to realize it's my reality. And it really rocks the boat of your sense of self and control. And so she's very patient with me, and she gave me this, like, so in your present moment, what's the 180? And I giggled and laughed, and she found it amusing as well, because that 180 is the opposition, right? The duality. Okay, so coming back into Gemini, she doesn't even know astrology. Actually, I shouldn't say that because I don't know. Gemini sees the duality. And Sagittarius and Gemini energy are very favorable with each other. They're the most similar of the two signs, right? Playful, delighting, experiencing, go, take risks, take charge, explore, travel. Sagittarian energy is like bigger foreign travel, where Gemini energy is like local travel, like in your community, in your immediate environment. So it's going to the grocery store, it's running errands. Sagittarius, though, is making the big adventure, the big trip. So when you know that opposition, and again, Gemini and Sagittarius are very similar. The opposition is right here, right now versus big picture, right? So that full moon is going to ask you to look at what this new moon is bringing forward, new beginnings, new steps, forward motion, hallelujah, right? But we're still in this reflection of what have we been asked to let go? What have we been asked to release? And so how are we going to integrate that? How are we going to contemplate and be mindful of our choices? And how are we seeing that it's impacting the bigger energy, the bigger landscape? So with that being said, there's tension in the sky from the new moon that happened on May 30th. So we're in a Gemini lunation for all of June. And the first quarter moon is in Virgo, right? And so that's going to challenge these new beginnings. It's in Virgo on June 7th. And what it's also, I would recommend paying attention to what challenges show up around June 7th of the movement that you're making, because it's 90-degree angle is a first quarter moon. That creates the challenges, because when the full moon happens, the release point of this full moon opposition, because it squares, it's in a mutable square with Neptune. So what it's saying is like, how is the unseen world, how is the duality blurring your sense of reality? That would be the low vibe. How are you avoiding, numbing, trying to dissolve what you don't like, especially through substances or avoidance? The release point of that is Virgo, and that release point is asking us, how can I be of service? In my travels, in my articulation, in my beliefs, how can I be of service to the greater good, right? Because that's what Virgo energy is wants to make the world a better place. So you can release the tension by asking, how can I be of service? Is this choice life enhancing or life depleting? Okay, so this is the Gemini lunation, but especially when you get to the opposition point of Sagittarius. So the 180 degrees of this present moment is going to reflect back a healthier choice. Am I choosing short-term joy, especially when Neptune's involved? Do I want the quick fix? Or can I have short-term discomfort? Can I dig in the soil and get my fingernails dirty and have some achy joints because I really moved ground in my own evolution for long-term joy? Once again, part of the reason why I chose to be out here. The other nature of this full moon is that you want to believe in your capacity to influence in a positive manner. This Gemini lunation is saying like the way you inspire initiates change. There goes Lulu. So keep the good company and remember that all the stars shine for you, even if you don't have a clue. All right, and then the closing lunation will happen on June 20th with a square to Pisces. And then we'll have a new moon on June 28th. And that new moon will be in Cancer at 7 degrees. So the new moon energy will ask us to understand the challenges. We have a little bit of a square with Saturn and Uranus. And that challenge of what are we fixed on? What are we stuck in? What are we making sure that we're, the habits, just come back to the habits, okay? So that would be where the planets are. I know you guys can't see it, but that's the energy for the Cancer new moon. That'll happen at the end of the month. So what that means is that that Cancer lunation will influence the month of July. So the month of June, we're really in this Gemini influence. When that sun shifts, right? The sun is kind of like the ever-present, all-shining benevolence. It is the source of our existence in this material world. Without the sun, we're screwed, right? So when that sun shifts into Cancer on June 21st, on the summer solstice, and we have abundance of light, it's like the full moon. So we really want to realize that we're in that opposition of darkness that we experienced in December. And now here we are, like we have arrived. How can you stand in your light fully? Okay, so to summarize all of this, the summary of this whole energetic signature is you want to be able to nourish the soul to receive the messages of your higher self, right? So when that sun moves into Cancer, there is an encouragement to take care, to feed yourself, to be honoring, to look at your past, but also understand your roots, your heritage, and how can you capture your soul's nourishment so you can take sacred self-care to continue to receive the messages of your higher self. So again, are you serving your ego, the quick fix, the short-term joy, right? It's fast food joy is what Brene Brown calls it. Or can you actually like the slow food? It's so much healthier for you, right? And that idea of like, if you can honor the contrast, if you can see the duality, right? And then choose to reunite and reconnect with your priorities, values, and trust that you deserve to live fully, that would be the guidance for this energetic signature. The dominating energy is that it's actually pretty tridoshic. It's pretty much a trifecta. We don't have a lot of water energy until the end of July. We have a lot of air and earth and a small dose of fire, right? So that air and earth is really asking the as above, so below, the higher ground, the spirit and soul, the up and out, the down and in. So that's why we want to honor the contrast and reconnect and realign with our values and our priorities. I thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope this serves you, and I appreciate you for being who you are and realizing there's a bigger energy that is here to support us. We are all co-creating, and in that co-creation we create a reality. So if we can co-create together, we can co-create with the earth that's in front of us and the stars above. We can integrate in a way where we can see the duality of our ego and our soul individually. We can be egocentric or soul-centric within ourselves, within our community, within the world at large. And when we learn how to make friends with that energy, we can be real, we can be true, and we can be soulfully you. I am Teresa Phelps Martin signing off for this month. Be sure to read the soul scopes. If you don't know your rising sign, you can go to places like astro.com and enter in your birth time, your birthplace, and your birthday. You may not be able to read all the things that come up, but where you see the letters AC, it'll be your rising sign. And if you want help in understanding your own natal chart and understanding how to work with these energies at a pace that is appropriate for you, because you're part of this Soulfully You tribe, I'm continuing to extend the $88 sessions. You just need to reach out to me directly for the link to schedule that. But we'll look at your chart. I'll help you understand your big three, your sun, your moon, and your rising, and how to best work with the energy that is you and your soul promise. I thank you, I thank you, I thank you. Ciao.